Give me a second, I'm trying to select the appropriate weapon. Watch where you stepping, them snakes all around, you know they connected. When I was a kid, my grandmama told me I can't go to heaven, so I stopped praying and asking for blessings and started preparing for my Armageddon.
Tonight's workout basically is still more of the same sort of stuff, like trying to get my body moving as it should be, working as it should be. I've got the movement stuff to start with, same as I did in my last session, just getting all the joints moving as they should, bit of stretching as well. Then last night I did some priority work on my hip after I did all the movement stuff. Today I'll do some priority work on my shoulder, because there are a couple of injuries that I have to give some extra effort into. So it's just a case of sort of getting my shoulder moving properly, warming up my rotator cuff, roll out my lat, tricep, all through that area, because I've got a bit of an issue with the rotation, pulling my arm back. So I'm basically just trying to get everything loosened up so that that shoulder starts functioning as it should again. So we'll start with that, and the warm up on the bike, the movement stuff, then the priority work on the shoulder. After that we'll move on to a Landmine shoulder press, something I've been doing for a few weeks now. It's again to aid with the mobility issue, but also on top of that it's to obviously I'm still training the press and I'm getting the conditioning where it needs to be, but with the beauty of the Landmine press is as I'm pressing it moves away from me slightly, so that restriction I've got in the shoulder is not stopping my workout from happening. So you know, sometimes we say you've got to train around injuries and train around issues you've got. Well, for me, because I haven't got that full rotation back, the Landmine press works perfectly for me because I'm pressing slightly in front, and so it enables me to still train my press hard without it causing more damage. And what I'll try and do is, as I press with my right arm, I'll try and force myself through a little bit to try and really sort of get that shoulder moving as it should, try and get a bit of a stretch, nothing too crazy. So as I'm locked out, sort of just try and force the shoulder forward a little bit, and that will help in turn with my mobility. Between that I've got to superset it with active hangs. So basically I'm going to hang from a bar, like in a pull-up position. I'll use some grips for that, just purely because I don't want it to be working my grip too hard, and plus I'm going to need to hang for a reasonable amount of time. So I'll do, for every set of Landmine I'll do some active hangs, which is basically going to be me hanging from a bar, but you basically engage your shoulders sort of almost like you're trying to start engaging your lats. It's just that first initials, you don't bend your arm at all, you don't really pull down, like I'll do a pull up. You're basically just lifting your shoulders up, almost like the opposite, or sort of like a shrug, and you'll feel it all through your lats and your rhomboids and your traps, and that's again to help sort this shoulder out and get it working as it should. Obviously the hanging as well is going to give me the stretch that I need. A few weeks ago I couldn't even get my arms above my head, so it's improved massively from doing all this sort of stuff. And it's you know, again, stuff that people don't really like to do, but it's important to do. Keeping your body moving as it should is far more important than just lifting heavy all the time. You'll get to a point if you keep going heavy all the time where your body doesn't work properly and you end up going backwards anyway. So just trying to stay healthy in terms of my body movement and everything, and it's definitely improving. So yeah, after that, so we'll do, after we've done the Landmine shoulder press, the active hangs, I'll then move on to kettlebell sumo deadlifts. This is for my hip. It's sort of really getting that mobility in the hip as well, trying to concentrate on keeping my knees out when I go into the sort of sitting down position, with 2 kettlebells between my legs. Again, it's, you know, it's just to try and get that hip moving as it should be. Although I'm still training and still working hard, still lifting weights, but it's encouraging my body to do things in the right way rather than, you know, everything's tight and nothing's really working properly. So again, another thing that's purely to get my hips opening up and working as they should. So I have to really focus on keeping myself in a good position and bracing my core, which then in turn should help the shoulder, the hip issue. After that, we move on to snatch grip Romanian deadlifts afterwards with a thick bar. Again, everything that I've done in this 4-week block has been with a thick bar, so a lot of that limits the weights that I'm lifting because it becomes more of a grip issue. But I actually have found it quite tough because the grip's so much harder. You can't pull as quickly because obviously you'll then loosen your grip. So it has been quite taxing. But yeah, I'll basically work on that. No straps, thick bar, so I'm working my grip at the same time. Romanian deadlifts, just to get some hamstring and glute work through that. It's obviously, that's just an essential thing. I know I deadlifted in my last session, but every session for me pretty much at the moment is, nothing's heavy. So it's like I can keep training my body, different areas over and over again, and just slight variations. So like I said, this is not necessarily about getting stronger, this is about getting my body functioning right, this block of training that I'm doing. After the Romanian deadlifts, so once I move past that, I'll be on to barbell hip thrusts, which is again extra glute work. I'll use the same bar as what I use for the snatch grip Romanian deadlifts, with a bench, hip thrust, 3 sets of 12, so a decent bit of volume. Just to try and sort of get some extra glute work. Again, it's sort of part of the issue I've had with my hip is where my glutes are not really firing properly, and they're very underused, so I'm trying to really activate them and get them working as they should. And obviously I've incorporated a lot of glute work into this prep, which I wouldn't normally do perhaps. I sort of just try and get some, my glutes get work when I squat and when I deadlift and everything, but I'm actually doing some extra work to try and get my glutes stronger, which then in turn should help my hip. Then moving forwards from that, it should help me lift bigger weights on the deadlift and the squat as well, because my glutes are so much stronger than they were and working as they should. The last thing I do is a bit of core work. So it's basically going to be planks, straight arm planks, which is plank walkouts where I'll walk my hands, get in a press up position and walk my hands out to a reasonably far level, try and get a little bit of a stretch while I'm there in the shoulder, take 3 breaths, walk back, and then I'm going to hold in a press up position for 3 breaths as well. Then the next thing I'm going to do is called a cobra. So you basically lay on your front, you hold 2 dumbbells in this position and you just lift up. It's only a really small movement, but it works your lower back, your glutes, but also it's sort of more for a stretch and conditioning, but it's just an overall sort of core type exercise. And then finally, after that, I'll do side bridges, so like a plank on the side, and I'll do one side, then the other, and that's sort of one round of core work that I'll do at the end of the weight stuff, and then I'll do that for 3 rounds. So again, another thing where I've dropped a lot of weight in the last couple of years, my core's not as strong as it was. I haven't got so much stability through the middle of my body, just where I'm not quite so thick as I used to be, and so I'm really having to work hard on improving my core strength, and obviously all through the glutes as well. So glutes, core, hamstrings, I've done a lot more work than I normally would have done, just mainly because of the issues I've got with my hip and where I feel like my weaknesses are when I'm lifting. I feel like that all needs to be a lot stronger, and that's sort of where we're going with it. Landmine press into active hands, so I've got to superset them together. 1 set of 6, 1 set of 9, 1 set of 12. just finished up with the Landmine press and the active hangs. Yeah, it's obviously my shoulder's feeling much better, so I'm pleased with how it's going. My right shoulder's still a bit weaker than my left, but you know it's improving all the time anyway. Next thing's kettlebell deadlifts, sumo kettlebell deadlifts. So that'll be I'm going to basically get down to the bottom, really brace my core, keep my hips in a good position, keep my knees out and lift. And it's all about getting my hips moving as they should and keeping good form and keeping my core nice and tight as well. So it's all just preparation work for when it comes to doing big deadlifts again. This is teaching me good habits and teaching my body to do the right things at the right time. So yeah, it's all part of the process. I've got to check my fucking rep range. I think it's 12s, but fucking start busting out sets of 12 when I've only got to do 6s. Yeah, three sets of 12. These are for hip mobility, a bit of core work as well, trying to get all the muscles working that need to work when it comes to proper deadlift. So it's engaging my glutes a bit more, concentrating on keeping my knees in a strong position, just making my hips function as they should. Yeah, it's all about just prep work, ready to start doing the big lifts, well, as of next week. So I've done 4 weeks of like preparation to get ready for the big push and start lifting big weights again. Sometimes stuff like this it's not really what you want to do, but it's essential to get your body working as it should, work on the small muscles that perhaps you've got a little bit of a weak link. For me, my glutes are a little bit of a weak link, so this sort of stuff. And what I'm going to do afterwards, the glute bridges, is to try and increase that strength in the glutes, and hopefully that should in turn bring a bigger deadlift in the future. Yeah, so next up's Romanian deadlifts on a thick bar. Obviously, where the bar's thicker, I'm doing it with no straps. It's going to, obviously the grip's the issue. This week I've got to do 50% of the working weight I did last week. So I did 120 last week, only 60 kilos this week. And but the difficult thing about this week is I've got to try and do a 5-second controlled movement down and then up. So each rep's going to be 5 seconds under control, down into position, and then back up again. Just to get some extra work in now, and some tempo stuff is good for getting a bit of a strength kick as well. So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and it's going to be tough. Maxing out my dumbbell work. So it's for the Cobra, which you'll all see what it is in a minute. It's a bit of core work, but it's also you know, just a bit of ab work and everything else. It's all just trying to build my core up. But 2 kilo dumbbells sounds a bit pathetic, but it's an absolute killer doing it. So yeah, I mean, you'll see in a minute what it is exactly that I'm doing. Yeah, it's a Cobra, it's called, but yeah, it's a tough exercise to do. Here we are. As you can tell, there's no big weights lifted, and it's one of those sessions where, you know, I've had to do this block for recovering my body, rehab, everything else, and this is like the little bits that none of us really like to do, but it is absolutely crucial you do it. I mean, I spent years of just lifting heavy and ignoring the little niggles and the issues that I had, which is part of the problem why I've got a few injuries and had a few injuries a few years ago. I was literally doing no rehab work. So I think it's, as in the last session I had Joe coaching me, it was, he talked about being aggressive in your recovery, and it's not just, you know, laying around, relaxing. You know, that's not recovery. Doing the stuff that I'm doing now, that's recovery. The stretching, the mobility work, even the sort of, on the exercises, what I'm doing, I'm trying to make my body function as it should. So if I've got bits of tightness in muscles, I'm trying to make sure I keep myself in the right position to do them. And things like the kettlebell deadlifts, trying to keep my knees out and really sort of force my hips into the right position. It's all stuff, like I said, we don't want to do. Obviously, I'm still capable of lifting heavy weights, and still, you know, that is still part of my training. But currently, this is the way it sort of has to be for me. You know, I'm 39 years old now, so I've been doing strongman a long time. I really need to.
You are not 39.
Oh, really? Yeah, 39. Yeah.
I'll have a pint of whatever you're having.
Yeah. And no, I just it's a case of just trying to get my body function as it should. You know, I'm an older guy, I've been doing strongman a long time, and it's now a case of trying to get my body, sort of keep myself as young and as agile as I possibly can, and this is all part of that process. Yeah, tomorrow going to be more recovery stuff. No lifting at all tomorrow. It's all just a bit of cardio, a bit of recovery, and stretching, the mobility stuff. That's basically my session, ready to get myself prepared for the events at the weekend, which, you know, I think this is something that perhaps some guys neglect a little bit. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how strong you are in the gym. It doesn't matter what weights you're lifting in the gym. All that matters is how you perform on the events. And, you know, that's why a lot of my training the week is preparation work for the weekend, ready so that when I come to the events, which is the important bit, you know, I'm ready and my body's working as it should to be able to perform those events. I think some of us spend so much time on how much can we bench press, how much can we shoulder press. It's almost irrelevant. What matters is how fast you can move with a yoke, how easily you can lift the stones, you know, how many times you can do a log press over and over again, or a max weight. You know, it's the event stuff that's important, and the gym work is all just accessory and assistance work for that. You know, we don't do bicep curls in competition. You're doing bicep curls as part of your training to aid, you know, to make you stronger for the event. So yeah, a lot of guys obviously focus a hell of a lot on the gym work and the event stuff. They don't focus on so much, but for me, it's that's the crucial bit. I need to be, you know, that's our sport, the events. So it's like a footballer. He can run forever and do all that stuff, just running around, but until he actually gets on the pitch and starts kicking a ball about, he's not going to get, you know, as good as he needs to be. So all the week stuff is preparation work, and the event stuff on the weekend is the really crucial bit that I need to be performing well at.
Give me a second, I'm trying to select the appropriate weapon. Watch where you stepping, them snakes all around, you know they connected. When I was a kid, my grandmama told me I can't go to heaven, so I stopped praying and asking for blessings and started preparing for my Armageddon.